shot.
Indeed.
All
One of
right,
many.
one of many. Cheers, Sean. That is good.
Indeed it is.
Folks, shout out to a great local distillery here in the Miramichi area, Carroll's Distillery. Makes a great product. Matthew Carroll, a supporter of the show, and many of our artistic endeavors here
Indeed.
on the river. He makes a great rum. I'm not even a big rum fan. I was always more of a whiskey guy.
Okay.
And I never liked Captain Morgan White or anything like that, so that's why I didn't get invited to the party. I'm still not getting invited to the parties. But, I always liked whiskey better, but I do love this black rum. It's really, really good. So, huge fan of this. They have all different other kinds of rum, too, don't they? They have
award-winning.
Award-winning. That's the other thing.
That's
yeah.
it. They've
some really great stuff. Some really great stuff.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Miramichi area, check out Carroll's Bakery and Distillery.
Yeah.
Bakery in the front, distillery in the back.
Exactly.
There you go.
For all your needs.
For all your needs. All right. So who are we? I am sketchy old Tom Daly, here with my good friend, the Doctor of History, Sean McCarthy. Sean, how are you?
Oh, very well. And yourself?
Fantastic.
Great.
And today's episode, we are going to talk about a fellow who you have spent much time researching.
Yeah, all kinds.
You probably know more about this guy, I think, than anyone else alive today. I'm going to go on a limb and say that. Certainly, I would say more than anybody in Miramichi, probably more than anybody in New Brunswick, and beyond.
Yeah.
We're going to
he's not very well known outside of Miramichi and New Brunswick, so
and he's not known in Miramichi either.
if I've got those two nailed down, I probably got.
Which is a shame because this guy lived a very interesting life.
Absolutely, he did.
Played a part in the formation of this country. And what country are we in? We are in Canada, the Great White North. And we're going to talk about Peter Mitchell, father of Confederation, from our little town here in what is today Miramichi.
That's right.
In the province of New Brunswick.
Indeed.
All right. So take it away, Sean.
Well, as you say, I mean, I've played Peter for any number of years, but you played him first. You were the first to crack the Peter Mitchell nut here, on the river.
And play him I did.
You did.
With a fake beard and evil Joker laugh.
It worked.
It scared some kids.
It did.
It did the job. Yeah. I knew nothing about Peter Mitchell at the time. It was just like, we need a new character for Warriors Island because he owned the island. So
he did.
Quick and dirty. Within like 10 minutes, I came up with a Peter Mitchell monologue that I delivered. And but you're the one that took the character and really, you did the research first, and then you found out all these interesting stories about him, not just the historic accomplishments, his political career. You also found out stuff about the man and his personal life, which we'll go into in depth here.
Yeah.
In a moment. So, when is the first time you were playing Peter Mitchell?
2013.
2013.
And like you, I was playing him with a fake beard. Okay. I had the glue, and I just it adhered to my. It was not pretty, At the best of times, it looked like I was wearing a fake beard. At the worst of times, the glue was everywhere. So finally, in 2017, I broke down and grew a beard.
Okay.
I mean, 2016, but at some point there, I grew a beard, and that worked an awful lot better.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to grow the beard. Fake beards are never good. They're good if they put them in like whisker by whisker.
Yes. Yeah.
But
we did not have that kind of budget.
We don't have the budget. We still don't have that budget.
That's true.
Right. So you're playing Peter Mitchell, and so what, I guess, you went beyond just playing him, I will say, because you did all this research on him. You played him almost every opportunity you could get. It felt like
it did. I did for sure.
He became like your guy.
Yeah. Well, I think I kind of started off with this guy, really kind of as sort of a squirrely fellow, you know what I mean? I tried to kind of do like kind of the old Don Ferguson's Joe Clark voice from Air Farce.
Oh, yes,
Yes, Peter Mitchell, very kind of subdued. But then the more I read about this guy was not that way at all.
No, very bombastic.
Indeed. I mean, this guy's being compared to Otto von Bismarck.
Okay.
So obviously, like I say, I mean, he's a commanding presence. So I really. And it was at that point when I really started to learn more about him and kind of his emotions and all of this. I really kind of took him in, and I thought, this is a guy that's going to be really fun to play. And we were able to do a lot with him during the sesquicentennial, the Canada 150, and we did a lot of touring shows during that time. And then really after that, I tried any chance I could get to kind of play him, and then was able to use him a lot with Character Matters as well.
Yep. The walking tours.
Yeah.
Is your guy for walking tours of Newcastle.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, last year was his 200th birthday, so we got a chance to do a little bit more during that time as well.
That was a great play, that one that you wrote, Family Affair.
Yeah.
With the dramatic story, and people compared it to Downton Abbey. You know what I mean? Because it was this costume drama heavy, and we'll talk about the personal life in just a moment. Because you wrote a play about a guy who was Father Confederation and Premier of the province and Member of Parliament, but that play barely touched on that at all. It was all about his relationship between his wife and 3 children.
Yeah,
and all the drama that was involved with each of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you also play him in the classroom a fair bit, don't you?
I do. I mean, I've been very lucky. I think in 2016 I got to play him for a modern history class in grade 11 at Miramichi Valley for the first time, and pretty much every year since I've been in at least once to be able to talk about Confederation as Peter Mitchell. So I think it's been a unique experience for the students, and it's something different, right?
Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's start talking about Peter Mitchell, the man and the myth, the legend, all that sort of thing. Born here in Miramichi, the Newcastle side, which is where we are right now, not too far away from here.
That's right. Yeah, 1824, just a little bit, probably 10 minutes walk from where we're sitting right now. So Peter Mitchell, a survivor of the Great Miramichi Fire of 1825.
1 year old.
That's right. Yeah.
Wild. So he's just a baby that they're like...
Yeah.
Trying to keep alive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So.
He's got an older sister, and his younger brother is born 3 days, I guess, after the fire.
Wow.
Yeah. So you think about poor Barbara Grant Mitchell, has 2 small children and is very pregnant herself.
Yeah.
To be able to endure.
Oh God. Yeah.
The Great Fire would have been a great hardship for her, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is a deadly fire, which we'll talk more about all this year.
Yeah.
This is 200th anniversary. So Peter Mitchell, born humble beginnings. His father is a bartender, correct?
His father is a bartender, yeah. His Peter Mitchell Sr. has a number of different jobs in the community. He's a shoemaker, he's a carpenter, and is a barman, Yeah,
so jack of all trades.
Yeah.
He's doing a little bit of everything probably to get by.
Probably so, yeah, absolutely. But he's able, I guess, to make enough money so that he can put his son through school. And Peter goes on and becomes a lawyer, studies law, and does very well for himself that way. So I have to believe that that's probably something that his parents wanted for him.
Yeah.
So they had to kind of move him beyond that sort of tradesman's life of that time.
Right, So he gets well educated, he becomes a lawyer. And do you ever find any famous cases, I guess, or anything like that from his legal career?
I haven't. I found a few, just minor cases, nothing big. I don't think he's in the position for very long before he kind of moves over into politics.
Okay,
He partners with John Mercer Johnson, who's a politician and a father of Confederation in his own right. So they do. They try a couple of cases together that I've seen, but again, nothing that's super exciting.
If somebody's stumbling upon this, the term we use, father of Confederation, who were these guys? Similar, I guess, to the Americans have the founding fathers, the fellows that were sort of like at the very start of the country. The founding fathers of Canada were the ones that met. And
the 36 men.
36 men negotiated.
I guess negotiated the Federated Union of Canada. The Dominion, I guess. Samuel Leonard Tilley came up with the idea for Dominion rather than Kingdom of Canada. So met in 1864 and 1866. Basically went over to London and were really kind of, many of them instrumental in the first Canadian government in 1867.
So how many was there altogether from New Brunswick?
So there were...
Tilley, Mercer Johnson, Mitchell.
Yeah, there were...
3 now.
I think there were 7 altogether.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot. And and only 2 from our area of New Brunswick, John Mercer Johnson and Peter Mitchell. So
that's right.
Yeah, these guys are on the ground level of, helping create Canada.
Indeed.
So, yeah, he heads over, I guess, the first time, when is it? It's 64, 65 in the Charlottetown.
64.
64.
So it's kind of strange. Mitchell talks like Mitchell's not listed as a delegate at the Charlottetown conference, but he talks as if he was there.
Yeah.
So I've chosen to kind of conclude that he must have been there as an observer. Obviously he was good friends, or at least was legal partners and political partners with John Mercer Johnson, who was there. So maybe he was just part of kind of the New Brunswick entourage, but wasn't kind of sitting in on the official aspects of it.
Watching from the sidelines or whatever.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But he's definitely there in Quebec in October of that same year. And he's there as an official delegate. And he, of course, he's in London in 1866.
Gotcha. So what was I guess might be getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. What's the very first point of his political career? It starts here in
1852.
1852. Okay, wow. So he's pretty much a veteran then of politics, isn't he?
Yeah. So there's a by-election. Alexander Rankin dies suddenly, and he's been in the legislature for 20 some odd years. So the seat is now open. He runs. He loses.
Sometimes people just have to friggin' die so you can move on.
Well, in those
to
days,
move up the ladder. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Well,
sometimes you got to pull the ladder out from under them.
There you go. So that's it. He runs for the first time. He is defeated. But in 1856, he runs again. And by that time, New Brunswick has flirted with a controversial piece of legislation known as prohibition.
This isn't good.
So in 1855, Samuel Leonard Tilley decides that there should be prohibition in this province. And it's not super popular. No. And the law is kind of very harsh. People can be jailed without cause in order to try to compel them to give up information, on stills or illegal liquor operations or whatever. So they can be just arrested and jailed for periods of time. This is very controversial. It becomes an election issue in 1856, and Peter Mitchell runs. And of course, this is the first time it's said that he uses that great electoral strategy, rum, for votes.
And it worked.
It worked very well. He wins the second largest amount. He gets the second largest amount of votes. He hosts everybody over at his house as a party afterward, all the successful candidates, and he goes to Fredericton for the first time. Okay.
Awesome. So rum for votes pays off, and it still will. If there's any future politicians watching, any current politicians watching this, just saying, maybe it's time to go back to the old bottle.
There you go. That's it.
All right. So, yeah, Peter Mitchell, and we use the term populist for the guy. He's very much a man of the people. It feels like he's very.
That seems to be kind of his way of doing things. He identifies himself as sort of a fighter for the little guy.
Even though he's a lawyer, he's more of a rugged,
absolutely.
It's not.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's it. And a very controversial politician when he goes to Fredericton. Famously, he opposes the idea of mandatory scripture readings in schools, which is something that obviously is not very popular. Like, his opposition is not very popular.
Yeah.
But is able to defeat this bill based on the idea that it would be unfair, and that of course there is no single translation of the Bible that everybody would accept. And so it would be, then he believes that people, if they want to read the Bible, they can read it. They can read it themselves.
Read it on your own time.
Well, sort of, you know what I mean? And it's not fair, obviously, to indoctrinate people in that way, which is, in a way, I guess, a view that we might kind of see more of in modern times than we would in 1856.
Yeah, today. But I guess Peter Mitchell maybe wasn't quite so religious, but his wife certainly was.
She certainly was.
So
that's right.
For just a brief moment, talk about her.
So Isabella Carvel Goff Mitchell was a very religious lady, originally an Anglican, but eventually moved to adopt Methodism, and was very instrumental in bringing the Methodist Church here to the Miramichi, and fundraised for the church and built churches and so on and so forth all through the area. Her first husband, James Goff, was a St. John police constable who was stabbed to death by a drunken man. And this, of course, led to her being, throughout her entire life, a very big opponent of alcohol and a big champion of temperance, even though she was married to Peter Mitchell, who was clearly a man who enjoyed rum. And I guess what was it? It was said. I forget now who wrote it, but said that he was introduced to rum at a very early age and found it to be a lifelong friend.
That's great.
So so you can imagine that there's probably a lot of tension just in the marriage over that issue.
Over that,
and of course Peter Mitchell's maybe more secular viewpoint versus Isabella's more religious conviction.
You did a great job with that in the play. That first scene, I remember. Yeah, and how, just to talk about the personal life again, they both brought baggage into the marriage because, Isabella has a child, her husband's died, she needs Peter in a way to help look after her, but Peter also has a child.
That's true.
And they're going to work on a scheme together, aren't they?
Well, I guess so. So Peter has a child to Ellen McBride, who is a woman that works for his family.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, so that's it. And so this son, Will Mitchell, grows up and would have been only maybe 1 or 2 years old when Peter and Isabella get married. So he grows up, and as far as he's concerned, Isabella is his mom. But that the inconvenient truth behind that is revealed to him at some time when he turns about 21, when he's about to marry this woman. And unfortunately, basically, it collapses his entire life. He realizes that he's illegitimate. He doesn't believe, I guess he doesn't believe in himself in that way at that time because, of course, attitudes about that were much different in 1872.
Of course.
But still, he decides that he's just going to leave town and leave his fiancée because he doesn't want her to have to deal with the stigma that's around that. And he leaves. And I think that he and Peter reconnect later in Montreal, but his life never really recovers, according to what you read.
Yeah. And that's something that just you found out about. I don't know if anybody else knew that story. And
I read it in an old newspaper article I found written about Peter probably in the 40s maybe.
Yeah, because there was history teachers after. Like, what? Is that true? You know what I mean? They had no idea that. Yeah.
Like when you go back through the census, you can read. You know what I mean? Like he's there. He's in the house.
Yeah.
So that's it.
But you certainly had
2 sons and I guess Peter and Isabella have a daughter together as well.
You figured that out with some great detective work. So now back to the political career, I guess, a little bit. Father of Confederation. And so our first prime minister here in Canada, can we say his name or is he been totally canceled? He's not on the $10 bill anymore.
No, he's not.
He is Sir John A. Macdonald. And
that's it. Peter Mitchell didn't like him.
He did not like him. But somehow, we talked about MacDonald a little bit, that he was the guy that they chose. And he must have been, charismatic as hell to be able, out of 36 guys, to be able to...
I think he was a leading figure. He's speaking at a lot of these...
They're like that old illustration where they're like holding him up. I think he was...
That's true, the old national policy.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Also a notorious drinker, wasn't he? John A. MacDonald.
He was. That's right. Mitchell tells stories about, McDonald asking him to make sure he's fed drinks in the house during the course of big speeches and whatever.
I love it.
When they were too weak, John handed them back.
Wow. Can you imagine?
And apparently Mitchell then found out that there was 2 or 3 other guys in the house that were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So
jeez.
So that's it.
It's amazing. So all right. Now, John and MacDonald, the story goes, I think you were the one that told me this. Peter Mitchell was promised a knighthood, was he not?
Yes. So the idea was that MacDonald wanted a number of men in his first cabinet to represent kind of all the constituent parts of Canada. So he went to Leonard Tilley first and got him in, and he said, I think Tilley wanted another guy from St. John, but...
Of course. That hasn't changed.
Well, there you go. But it was clear that Mitchell was the other guy. Mitchell had been the premier of New Brunswick that brought New Brunswick into Confederation.
We should maybe talk about that, shouldn't we?
Sure.
Yeah, so premier New Brunswick. Well, that's what reminded me right there. That was my shout out to All Decked Out.
Exactly.
That's where I got the shirt made, and I gave it to you for some reason. And
for my birthday, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
And just to Who else is going to appreciate this for their birthday? But you did.
I certainly did.
It's an old-timey gun, and it says, "Who threw that rock?"
Yes.
Peter Mitchell. And Peter Mitchell, somebody threw a rock at him while he was running for premier.
Yep.
And he did the only logical thing. He pulled a gun on those motherfuckers.
He certainly did.
So yeah, tell that story.
Well, that's basically
That's pretty much the story. Yeah,
that's it.
You know, that's pretty much it.
You know, he was at the yeah, that's it. You know, yeah. There are no surprises.
There's no
in the
surprises.
story that
I
I'm
blew
going to
it,
tell you.
Yeah.
But apparently, through much of his political career, Peter Mitchell was armed when he went to the polls.
Okay, so he pulled a gun, but what happened the very next day?
Yeah, the next day he became the premier of New Brunswick. So
There we go. So there more political advice for any future politicians watching this. You know what I mean? Had you pulling that gun, you might have won.
Well, I think
That's a good one. Had you pulled a gun, you might have won.
Well, probably not, because
You
I
listening,
mean,
Pierre?
but by this point, like I say, it was pretty much decided he was going to win.
Yeah.
But you know, because in those days, of course, the poll just went around the province, which is probably not altogether fair, because by the time it gets to Gloucester County up in Bathurst, by the end of it, you know who's already won.
You know,
And so
it's like watching when I was in Vancouver, watching election results coming in on the West Coast. It's like, how the hell with this?
That's it, exactly.
Why bother?
Exactly.
And
That's it.
yeah. So
So he pulls a gun, and he becomes the premier. He brings the legislature passes the idea for New Brunswick to join into the Federated Dominion of Canada on the agreement that had been made in Quebec in 1864. So off they go. Mitchell's invited into the cabinet. MacDonald says, "Listen, I've got one knighthood. I think that should go to Tilley, because Tilley has been the champion of Confederation for many years." Mitchell doesn't like this idea, but bites his tongue and he takes his medicine. He swallows it down. He doesn't like the taste, but I swallowed it down anyway, as the Macho Man did in 1989.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, that's it. He takes his medicine. He says, "All right, listen, I can accept that." And MacDonald says, "Don't worry. You know, your time is coming. I'm going to make sure that you're knighted as well for your contribution." That, of course, never happens.
this was very much like a Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Randy Savage friendship, wasn't it? Between
It sure was.
MacDonald and Mitchell. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, Mitchell, at the end of his political career, I don't know if we want to skip to that, but the reason we know all of this stuff is because at the end of his political career,
yeah.
he writes a 36-page letter, which is published
pages.
about the secret history of Canadian politics.
I love the name.
I
love the name. The Secret History of Canadian Politics.
Yeah.
It feels like a YouTube video. We should call Dave. We found the Secret History of Canadian Politics. That's the name of this video. And
So it's and basically it's all the times that John A. Macdonald promised him one thing but gave him something else.
interesting.
And of course, MacDonald is dead by the time that he writes it, and people say like this.
I think that's the good thing. Like, I am tired of people, fawning over people when they die and saying how great they were. And it's the same people who are talking about this person, the week before. But the consistency of Peter Mitchell. No, I hated the bastard when he was alive, and I hate him now that he's dead. So the fact that he leaned into that and just,
I think it is a little bit of a mega powers dynamic, though, because I think Mitchell really did like, Macdonald's
started out,
stuff with,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And really kind of felt like, okay, this is going somewhere in a good way. But then none of it turns out the way that it's supposed to, and he's kind of left saying, "What the hell happened?" But and of course, when I play Peter Mitchell now, of course I say, now the world is catching up and finding out what Peter Mitchell always knew about Johnny MacDonald.
I never trusted him.
Exactly.
I hated him before I knew you hated him.
Yes, indeed. Had I been thinking earlier, we should have had the videos on, like the vines, as they say. You know what I mean? Every time one of those statues went down, or those buildings was,
turned you with the chalkboard.
Exactly. That's it.
Just, another one down.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, what was it again? He started as a conservative, became a liberal, and finally independent. Was that it? Or
no.
Liberal, conservative.
No, conservative, independent, and then I guess was kind of an independent liberal.
Okay, so he was very much his own man, though, wasn't he? He wasn't towing the party line. So
no.
I respect that about him, because that's the thing it feels like today. So many politicians are just putting on the red tie or the blue tie or whatever, and that's they're not gonna they're gonna stay there and get that pension.
Well, and then that was kind of that's kind of what he said, right? People would say like, "Oh, did you have your full party's support on this?" And of course, the idea of he's sitting by himself, but he said, "Listen, I'm the only party in the house that's got absolute agreement." So
yeah. What was it? I think the election we just had, they said only 2 times there was an independent candidate elected here. So one of those must have been Peter Mitchell.
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be done. Peter Mitchell proved.
Certainly.
Yeah.
That's it. And again, I mean, it allowed him to kind of, as I say, pursue his own agenda. Of course, famously, the poor widow.
Yeah, fought for the woman's cow. Tell that story.
It. Yeah. So of course, in the 1874 Parliament, the poor widow Murphy from Barnaby.
I know this. I know this. Not know of her, but I know exactly the house you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's right there next to the tracks today, right? So
the house is gone, but it was right by the railroad tracks. So if the train would go by, and the house would shake.
Well, there you go.
And because it was like on the church grounds or whatever, and she was allowed to stay there, I guess, probably because she was his widow. And so it makes sense. There was like a farm field, so she would have a cow there or whatnot. Yeah.
And that cow wandered under the tracks, was struck by the train. And she went to Peter Mitchell after having kind of talked to a lot of other people to find out how do I get compensation for the loss of this cow. And so Peter Mitchell went and requested compensation for Widow Murphy, and the Minister of Infrastructure, who was also the Prime Minister, Alexander Mackenzie, said, "We can't do that." And so Peter Mitchell
didn't stop there.
Peter Mitchell said the very
this
choices.
Is the important part. Yeah.
So he filibustered the House. He basically talked and held up business for hours until finally, until the government basically said, "All right, we'll pay."
I love that sort of chaos. That he actually just would not shut up. Just talking.
Yeah.
I just picture him with the bottle in one hand, just talking about like anything.
That's right. He just held the floor.
He held the floor. He would not back down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I respect a guy who can talk about anything for hours.
I guess. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
All right.
But of course, I think those were kind of the waning days. I mean, he was defeated in the 1878 election, but he came back, in 1882, and was there until 1891, representing the constituents here in the county of Northumberland. But yeah, of course, by that time, his personal life had sort of, again, kind of gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Isabella leaves him.
He's hitting the ball pretty hard.
Yeah.
And you did a great job playing old Peter Mitchell, too. Like, you were good during the whole play, but you really shined at the very end. And you shaved your head.
I did.
Not shaved a ball. No, ladies and gentlemen, especially ladies. He shaved the circle around like that and kept the hair.
That's it. Why are we talking to the ladies specifically here?
It was a good look.
Is this a level of commitment?
Clara loved it. She's like,
she?
Well, she was like, I want to touch it. It's so shiny. Yeah. It's like,
that's it. Yeah. Exactly. There you go. I believe
Clara appreciates smoothness, and that fucking head was smooth. I will say that. And
should have Clara.
Sorry, honey. And anyway, she was the one who told me to touch your head. I'm like, I'm touching this fucking head.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure
I couldn't stop touching it.
I'm sure she did not
I couldn't stop touching it. Ladies, I couldn't stop touching his head.
Okay.
So it was a good look for you.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's the good thing about Peter is that, of course, he died at the age of 75, and I'm not quite 40. So this is a part I get to age into.
You aged into it.
So, it's a part I get to play for a lot of years. Hopefully, God willing.
Yeah. All the actors were phenomenal in that play.
It was.
So
it was a great show.
Yeah. All you people that should have came and saw it, you missed out.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
Yeah.
And so Peter Mitchell, the very end, let's talk, I guess, about how he died. Just watching the parade go by.
Yeah. So it was one of the first articles I ever read about Peter Mitchell that was, kind of contemporary. Was an interview he gave to the Montreal Star sometime in the 1890s. So he died in 1899. So this would have been, less than 10 years before he died. And he talked about kind of his political career, and he talked about, by this time, he was living in Montreal at the Windsor Hotel. So, renting a room all the time. And he talked about, on Dominion Day, on Canada Day, July the 1st, he would get dressed up and he would stand at the window and he would watch the parade go by underneath his room. And I thought, at once, how very sad, but also, in a weird kind of way, like how fitting for kind of his political career.
Yeah,
like,
and
he's this kind of outsider. He's not, he's not in the parade. He doesn't get celebrated.
Yeah.
He just gets to watch everybody else get celebrated.
Yeah. Now that's the thing. And to be, you expect like, oh, of course, now he's dead for, over 100 years. So it makes sense for people to kind of forget about him now.
Yeah.
They forgot about him before he was ever dead.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So, yeah, no, it's bittersweet for sure. So it's good that you took it upon yourself to shine a light on this guy, because again, he came back here and for years was buried in an unmarked grave too, was he not? He was
I don't know. He was buried kind of in the family plot.
Yeah.
On the stone now, like he's on the back side of the headstone.
Oh, okay.
So, which I only found out not very long ago.
Not very long ago, yeah.
I've been doing performances at that gravesite for years.
Yeah.
But never realized that, apparently on the back side of the stone is his information.
Okay, so the proper monument, we'll call it, is much newer, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So 1867, there was a plaque there for him for the centennial of Confederation.
Gotcha.
So, takes 3 strokes in 1899, and the last of which kills him, and he's found the next morning, which again, kind of another kind of sad ending. You know what I mean? He's alone. Nobody even knows that it happened until the next morning. I guess the maid or whoever kind of goes in to check the room, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Right? So that's it. So, and of course brought back here and given a funeral. And of course, unfortunately, I don't know about Will. I never really kind of found out, but I don't believe he had any children. And of course,
Blanche.
Peter and Isabella's daughter, Blanche, unfortunately, struggled with the health of her mind and was in the provincial hospital in St. John for 49 years.
Yeah. So that's the provincial hospital is basically, not to be politically incorrect, but it's not that kind of podcast anyway.
No, that's right.
It was called the lunatic asylum.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
It was. If you're watching some horror movie about 1800s asylum, American Horror Story season 2, this is pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad to read, like, of course, all of his land went to her after he died, but all of that land was sold so that her care could be provided for, because the town wouldn't pay for it. And that was a big scandal at the time, too. And all of these things, like Blanche Mitchell, the lunatic, Blanche Mitchell, the idiot.
Like
all these things, which is but lived, until the age of 90. But 49 years in the provincial hospital, and had no children. So Mitchell had nieces and nephews, but had no grandchildren, and so his family, which I suppose is probably another reason why he never gets spoken about
either. Yeah. So, besides yourself for shining a light on this guy, do you find there's any more effort now? Anything?
Somebody from Alberta, probably a couple of years ago, reached out to me and wanted some more information about Peter Mitchell.
That's good. Anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of doing some research on them. I know Barry McKenzie, shout out to Barry, our good friend, does a lot of work in his Canadian history class and, bringing Mitchell forward. I think, these, kind of finding these documents, makes it an awful lot easier to kind of talk about him in an education setting. And makes him a little bit more real.
Because that's the thing. I feel like now, especially, he's somebody that you think people would be really interested in, especially his, like I said, this approach he had, that he was one of the people, type thing, that he was, and he was his own man. And
I think, to be fair, you know what I mean, at the same time, I think a lot of his political opponents would say that he was not one of the people, and that there's a lot of evidence to say that like he bought Beaubear's Island because he knew the Intercolonial Railway was going to be built just above Beaubear's Island.
Right.
So he did use his political.
But insider trading wasn't a thing back then.
It was not. It was not.
That's what I was saying when I'm playing Beaverbrook.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, I think he did use the office, for his own benefit.
And like we said, they all wore their corruption on their sleeve at that point.
Yes,
it felt like, of course they did that. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's all, pretending to care when they don't.
Yeah.
Peter Mitchell cared more than most. I will cast my vote right now for Peter Mitchell, especially if he's going to hook me up with a bottle of rum, because that'd be more than any other politician did for me.
Every election, that was his policy.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So, have we done it, Sean? Or is there anything else we should touch on with old Peter before we go?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the work is ongoing. I hope to, kind of produce more material on Mitchell over the years. So, keep an eye out for him, I guess.
All right. Well, thanks, folks, for listening to this. It's the Peter Mitchell story, the secret history of Canadian politics. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're calling this one. We need to get like a good thumbnail of the head getting sawed off of Johnny McDonald's statue. Peter Mitchell doing it.
Exactly.
Come on,
exactly.
AI, show us what you got.
Yes,
So,
exactly. That's right. Yes, indeed.
All right. So, thanks to the man behind the camera, the guy who makes it all possible, our producer and a famous actor, David Jardine. He died 11 years ago today on Supernatural, the TV show, which is not when you're watching this. So it's
okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We shared it on Character Matters on the Instagram page,
Okay.
celebrating the death of our producer, Creepy Dave.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. The man
Hooray,
behind
Dave.
the camera, yeah. He's the man behind the camera, the man in front of the camera, sometimes, but not very often. He's also the man,
The disembodied voice that you sometimes hear in these
the
episodes.
disembodied voice. He's also the man with the pen in his hand.
Indeed.
The artist.
Yep.
Creates coffee doodles. We have one there framed behind us. But you should all check out the entertainment that comes on YouTube. Yeah. Check it out. Coffee Doodles by David Jardine.
Link in the description below.
That's correct. All right, John. One last drink for old Peter Mitchell.
Well, I better get some more then.
That's true.
Ah.
Back to our
Who
superstition.
the hell put the cork in that?
That's right.
Peter Mitchell doesn't want the cork. The bottle of wine.
The cork comes out, you throw it away.
That's it, exactly.
Not going back in. If you don't have the cork, you have to finish it.
Exactly. All right.
Cheers, son. All the best. Peter.
Indeed.
So long, everybody.